All right. Here we are, episode 2 of Dev Chat, Paladins Strike podcast, Dev Chat. Haven't quite decided.
That's still the name we're going with. The problem is we left Rain Day at home, and we need him to decide the name for us.
Yeah, he was late for the carpool, so we just...
It's lonely without him.
Yeah, I miss his beautiful voice. So we're here to talk about some pretty exciting and important things going on with Paladins Strike.
Tell me more.
As a lot of people may know from our last podcast, we were working on some PTS experiments. PTS has been open to all iOS and Android users.
And we've had thousands of people sign up to help us test, and we've gotten a ton of really valuable information. Like, actually, your help has been essential to us getting things to feel good, not just for balance, but like making sure the shooting system is right. And surprise, people seem to like manual shooting. Yeah,
it's great. It's been really great having tens of thousands of people get in there and finally be able to get their hands on the game and give us real constructive feedback. So we've made adjustments. We've added even more systems and features, and I think we're just about ready to bring it out to our soft launch countries.
Share it. I like how you use countries like plural. It's like a good foreshadow because it's only in Australia right now. But yeah, I mean, we're going to expand it. We want to let more people in and get more data. And we want to do it, I think, a little bit bigger in terms of population-wise than we did before. So Australia, great country, one country. This time, many countries.
Many countries. And do we have like a region that we're looking at putting all these countries together in?
Yeah, we're looking at Eastern Europe. And I feel like now we're going to get criticized by like, where did we draw the lines on what is Eastern Europe? We have definitely excluded some countries there, and I'm sorry if you're in one of those countries. I still love you. But primarily some of the markets we're looking at is like Turkey and Poland, and there's a whole bunch of countries in that generally, but that's kind of where the borders are. Turkey's at the bottom, Poland's on the left. I'm looking at a map. And kind of everything in between, but not going so far into the Nordic region. We're still staying below that. And unfortunately, even though we have a lot of fans in Russia, we're not quite ready for all of you yet because there's so many of you that I'm worried you'll crash our network. So soon, but not too soon.
Awesome. So we had a lot of goals in PTS for refining these features and getting everything ready to get out into the hands of everyone. Now that we're expanding this and getting so many more people in, what are our goals now that so many more people are going to be able to get in and test these features that have only been on PTS so far?
So the cool thing with like game development is anytime you make big changes, and we've definitely made some big changes here, we need to be able to then share those with people who haven't tried the game before, right? They're not biased. They're trying it for the first time and get just fresh feedback and data around, is the game fun? Are they coming back to play it? How long are they playing it, right? And measure the overall experience. And it sounds like somewhat scientific, and it is a little bit, but the idea is that by looking at these key indicators, you can tell whether a lot of people are going to like the game or not. And that allows us to get more support on the game team from, the overlords, if you will, if such a thing exists, for like marketing the game and telling people about the game, right? Because there's so many great games out there that sometimes it can be really hard to reach people and tell them, hey, we have one too, and come and try it. So that's the goal, and we're really excited to get more people, and we're also excited to set up kind of a new region, right? So hopefully for some of you who are cheating your way into that soft launch by saying you live in Australia when we know you don't, because we can see your IP. It's great that you'll have another place to connect to servers, and if Australia is not great for you, then you can go to this region.
Awesome. So during the PTS, we enabled so much. We enabled brand new shooting mechanics for every character.
Oh yeah.
We enabled reworks to our maps. We enabled reworks to our ranked system. Did we enable the rune changes?
We didn't. We wanted to, but sometimes things take longer to get done.
Took a little longer, so it looks like those rune changes can be something that people look forward to in this new soft launch. What else can people be looking forward to? when we expand these territories.
So the rune changes is a big thing, and we're obviously going to pay close attention to feedback. For players who are already participating in Australia, there'll be a wave of compensation coming out as well, so you don't have to worry about gold or crystals or tickets that you've spent. Essence is going away, but you'll be compensated for the essence you have. So, we've come up with a robust plan to make sure that you guys are getting, more than what you've put in. So you should definitely feel really good afterwards. We have a whole bunch of cool promotions planned with the rune system. So I don't know that I want to spoil yet. Like, I kind of just want people to log in and be like, oh, really? That's awesome. But like, we're giving away a ton of content for free that we weren't giving away before. We've set it up in a way where you're not going to be able to get it all at once, but you'll get it throughout the first series of days that you play, and it should be really good.
Awesome. So now that we've gone over all of that, all the exciting stuff, we reached out on our Twitter earlier, and
3 hours ago.
3 hours ago, and solicited some questions from our listeners. So we've got a list here. And, if we run out of questions, we can always resort back to getting more questions from the thread. So the very first question, EU or SEA server win?
Oh, good question. So we actually had this debate internally. So EU will be pleased to be able to access, well, first off, a formal European Union server and SEA server won't come until release. But that said, because we're soft launching in these Eastern European countries, you will have a server closer to Europe that you can access to. I think actually both locations will benefit from that. For SEA, it's going to be longer, and I'm sorry, but it's just going to be longer. But for Europe, you'll be able to connect to that, and SEA will get it around release.
Awesome.
How did I make that so wordy?
Question number 2. Could you guys get any cooler? Seriously, y'all are freaking killing it.
Well, I can't because I'm past my prime, but Logan has a lot of promise.
That's a good answer. And I know the team over in China can get much cooler.
Yeah, so definitely.
Can't wait to see what they're going to...
They're going so hard.
Oh, I mean, they're doing the best.
They wrote us a note and they were like, yeah, I think in the last 14 days, 11 of the days we've worked till 2 a.m. And they're just like, they love the project. They're so excited about it. They want to share it with the world. And I want to share it with the world with them. But I'm like, oh, there's a few more things on the list we got to get done first. So,
Okay, so this is a really good question. I'll reword it because it's rather lengthy, but the first half of the question is, what do we do when we want to implement a character in Paladin Strike from Paladins PC?
Yeah.
But the kit is just so different, right?
Yeah.
Does it cause problems, balance problems when we have to translate a kit that maybe doesn't translate very well over to mobile?
So we've been really lucky in hitting it on the first try, I'll say. I don't know that we'll always be that lucky. So first, definitely there are some characters that we can't just bring over one for one. In the new manual shooting that we've adopted, that is, I guess I can stop calling it new, it's just the way shooting will be in Paladin Strike. Some things don't work, right? So like Grok was a great example of a character who has a persistent beam, and we don't allow for that because we have an ammo system where, when you fire it removes a charge of ammo, and so the attack has to begin and end, and it can't really have this persistence to it. And what we decided to do with him was we did this experimentation where we're like, well, wouldn't it be cool if he like cracked the ground and then after a delay, the ground exploded, and it was like this like different mechanic that's not like what he does now, but still kind of fits IP wise with what Grok is. And people seem to really dig it. He's incredibly popular in the PTS version. Same thing with Maeve, right? We tried something a little different with her, inspired by Giannis from Smite, where we have this figure 8 pattern for her attack. And we also thought that, because she was losing the reset, we wanted to make her running around more interesting. And so we added this wide AoE attack that you can use on it that also refills your ammunition. And so these things were really experimental, and we liked them in playtests, but we weren't sure how the community would like them. And that's, the most important to us. But luckily, they've been received well. So Paladin's team also has been really understanding about letting us play with the characters as long as they still have kind of that same feel, even if they do things a little differently in our game, they seem to be supportive, which is awesome.
Right. I think over the course of the PTS, the two most played characters I've seen in my games are Kinessa and Maeve, who are two drastically, well-translated characters from Paladins PC that you maybe couldn't imagine on mobile. But people seem to really enjoy them, so I think we hit the nail on the head with that. Part 2 of this question is actually, will you implement new champions that don't exist yet in the normal Paladins game?
We have this discussion also a lot. I don't have a final answer. I would love to take a shot at creating an original character before it hit Paladins. Whether Paladins would love that as much as I would love it, I'm not quite sure. So I think, the good news is there's still a lot of awesome champions that we need to make in Strike. So we'll make those first. And then as we start approaching that border of, content parity between the games in terms of champions, we'll have the conversation with the Paladins team and we'll let you know.
We'll see. That's exciting stuff. All right, next question. Will you have an MMR system and will it be working on release? Will we be able to report matches that we feel should be looked at for skill differences?
Yeah, so that's a good observation. We actually have had our MMR system in the PTS build turned off because the player population is limited, and we want people to just be able to get into a match and try out the game mechanics and have fun and give us feedback. And so certainly that's not going to lead to the most balanced matches because there's variance in player skill, but for this build that's going out in soft launch, which is already out in Australia, we will have our matchmaking rating turned on. That whole system will be on. So you'll have that. The question about reporting, we don't have that feature in now, but we definitely have it on our to-do list. But I can promise you that we're paying close attention to match results and looking for any outliers so that we can make sure you guys have the best experience. A lot of the time with MMR, what really makes a great experience is player population. And so, throughout the entire soft launch, that population is just going to be limited because we're not available to everyone. So even if you see some issues now, probably many of them will go away when we go into a larger release across the world. And that will be where the really valuable data starts to come in for refining MMR.
Awesome. Awesome. So the next question, let's see. Will the champions have 5 abilities again? I think what they mean, if they count the auto attacks and ability, I guess maybe we had 5 before. I guess I would refine the question to be, were they playing our game? I don't know. I guess what I would say is, why did we take away an ability from each character, and are there any plans to add those back? Was there reasoning behind that, or did we just want to?
So hopefully, if you've had the chance, but maybe if you're just listening and you haven't been there, on Discord, we're pretty engaging with the community that's there. And we speak openly about things like this. And so probably a few weeks back, I had a conversation with a whole bunch of players on Discord about removing this ability. And the reason is, well, there's a couple of reasons. First, we were just kind of under time pressure where translating that many abilities to our new manual shooting system was not going to be possible with the schedule. And we combine that with, excuse me, you combine that with the fact that a lot of characters have movement abilities, which is also, if you have too many of them, sometimes really offensive to the whole manual aiming with shooting. And it just kind of became a no-brainer for us. Like, hey, let's remove one ability. Maybe we'll add it back. Maybe we won't. But this is going to allow us to stay on schedule and also remove some abilities that we feel like, from the top-down camera perspective and the new shooting, have not translated so well to the gameplay. So that's why we did it. And we do not have plans right now to add those abilities back for less the time reason, but more that just some of them didn't translate well to the gameplay. Of course, we're open. If there's an opportunity, I think we would consider it. Our current thought is the game plays pretty well with just the 2 abilities plus your ultimate plus your primary fire. And we really don't want to overload players with having to think too much about their abilities, since manually aiming your primary fire is actually quite hard, I think, especially with some characters over others. So we want them to focus on that. And our polling actually for players too was interesting. A lot of our veteran players who had experienced Paladin Strike, they really did miss that 3rd ability. But new players coming in were okay with it being gone. And there's a little bit of like, you don't know what you're missing if you've never experienced it kind of thing.
Right.
But I think also it's showing us that the fun is still there, even with one less ability. So I think hopefully if I ask most people, could you have a new playable character sooner or have a new ability added back to all the champions, they would want more champions over more abilities on existing champions. And
Right.
that's kind of it's not a one-to-one like that, but that's kind of the thought.
Yeah, that's the frame of thought for us. Okay, well, awesome. Here's a question I remember it was asked by one of our content creators, Soul Bash. Are there any more Siege maps in the works? Variety is nice when you're grinding ranked.
There are. We do have numerous Siege maps in the works. In addition to the one that you're playing on in PTS now, we have the previous Siege map, which has the rooms in it, which we're trying to figure out the best way to optimize for the new gameplay. And then we also have a couple other maps that we're working on. There's also other game modes we're experimenting with that are not in the build yet, that of course will have their own original maps. All of that's probably at least a couple months out before we're able to push it out there, just because everybody is really focused now on the existing feature set. And also I think there's just a lot of polish and bug fixing we need to do to make sure that the game is stable and everybody's having a good experience with what's already there. But the short answer is yes, definitely more Siege maps, just not for a couple months.
More Siege maps, working on them.
Yeah.
They'll be there. Awesome. One of the last questions I've got here, more skins when?
There are some really cool skins that I don't want to spoil, but I find particularly entertaining.
Yeah.
Probably we're a solid month or so at the fastest out for more skins. And the reason for that is we're trying to bring most of the art team that would focus on creating that content is focused on bringing over all the champions into the game that we had from the original. So Australia, right, has more champions than PTS. We want to bring all of them over. There's some artwork that needs to be done around porting those characters to the new system. And also, we're leveraging a lot of our team to focus on other feature sets that we're building. By the way, there is actually, I guess, a whole bunch of new skins coming in.
That's what I was hoping you would
You want
mention.
to talk about it? Why didn't you talk about it?
That's why I picked this question.
Okay,
I was hoping...
it's good. He was like scowling at me as I give me this answer, and I'm like, "Well, what?"
Talk about the skins, man. We got awesome skins coming in.
They are pretty cool.
So now that we got all these feature sets,
no skins coming in like you know, at the steampunk level bomb kill, right? But we do have recolors,
sort of, if you want to call them that.
But yet they're cool.
They're better. They seem better than recolors. They're really awesome. Like
Drogos is the best.
Oh my gosh, Drogos, Kinessa, Maves is really cool. I've seen Ashes. Basically every character in the game who didn't have a recolor skin now has one, and there's an interesting way to unlock all those recolors that doesn't involve purchases.
That's right. Yeah, so again, talking about Discord, you should still sign up for Discord if you're not on it already, but we had basically another conversation similar to talking about the abilities and how we reduced from 3 abilities to 2 abilities for the non-ultimates, a conversation about skins. And one of the things that you know, has been an ongoing discussion as well, when you equip a skin, you get a little extra oomph in your character, right? You earn gold faster, and your rune page is slightly boosted. It's different from what it is in live, but that's what it's going to be. And, you know, we're a developer that considers esports all the time. I mean, that's what we look at, and we want this game to be competitive, and we don't want people to feel like they're at an unfair advantage. So we decided, to the angst of the art team, because they only had a few days, to give every single champion in the game a skin that you could earn completely free, not having to spend any money at all, and so that you could get access to that same bonus that, you know, somebody else might get if they buy a premium skin. And the bonus is the same across all skins. It doesn't matter the quality. So we added all these color change skins in, some of which were already in the game and will now be available for free. And then the other ones are all new. And I got to tell you, I looked at it and I was like, man, our team did too good of a job on this. Like, you want people to kind of like buy the skin, but this free skin's kind of cooler than all the other skins available. I think you guys, you might have got that backwards, but whatever. Good for everyone else. So,
yeah.
But yeah, Drogus looks really good. The Drogus one is my favorite, probably.
I think people will really enjoy being able to unlock those skins and work towards that.
Yeah, and it's tied to the award system. So it's a simple award. You win games, and when you win enough games with a particular character, you'll get the skin.
Awesome. That's really exciting. Last question I've got here. Legendary runes. What happened to those?
So keeping with Paladins, we're going to rename legendary runes into talents, and talents are renamed into augments. Follow me on that. If you played it, if you haven't played the game, it doesn't matter for you. Just know that you have in-match progression called augments, and then talents are talents, just like in Paladins. They're coming back. I don't know when, but hopefully very, very soon. We pulled them out because some of them didn't make any sense after we reworked every champion, but likely we'll be able to start focusing on them. Now that we're catching up to all the champions, we'll be able to start focusing on them probably the next month.
Awesome.
Next month.
That's really exciting.
And they'll still be great. They'll still be like changing your play style for the champion, right? We don't want to lose that. Everybody loves it. Yeah. It's definitely coming back. It's just a resource thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sweet. So that's all the community questions I've got. Do we want to ask some more? Or?
I don't know if anybody else reached out while we were talking. Any plans for Inara coming to the game? From Rage Mode. Is Inara on the schedule yet?
Not on the schedule, but technically everyone's on the schedule because
everyone is planned. You get a champion and you get a champion. That's actually more true than you think. Wait and see. Okay, so coming but not scheduled. Oh yeah, can I get a larger reload button? Yes.
Yes.
That's coming for probably about 2 to 3 weeks out. Maybe probably closer to 2 weeks.
Where's Ying and Xin?
They're coming. We actually, people were mad that we didn't have a ton of supports on the last update. We have more supports coming. Ying's coming. Maldamba's coming.
Oh!
And
awesome.
And Xin is on the way back as well. So all three of those will be coming in a near-term update. And I think you'll have a great time playing them. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Little Maldamba spoiler there. I've seen him. He's good. He's awesome.
It was like unfinished when you looked at him.
He was unfinished, but his model was finished. He looked really good. He looked really, really good. Oh, and his art was finished.
That's true.
I can't wait to use that art.
I feel comfortable spoiling it since you guys have already seen some of that cool 2D art in the ranked system.
Right. So, last one I see down here, different control layouts, different way to maybe change your layout for your UI or...
Yeah, nothing planned yet. We really want to polish the existing control scheme. So our view is that the ability to aim your characters is actually a little too difficult right now. We're not thinking about a fundamental overhaul of how you do it. It'll still be, press and hold and aim and then release to fire, and you can tap multiple times to keep that angle. But the rate at which your retargeting happens is a little bit too sensitive, even with our sensitivity turned all the way down. And part of that is how we've implemented the system. So we're going to polish that over the next couple weeks. And I think, either in the next update or the one after that, it should feel a whole lot better. And then we'll take some feedback and we'll start considering what other options are available for customization around controls. So,
awesome. Yeah. So just more polish, more customization, more feedback.
Right. That's right.
That's all. That's what we're about here on the strike team.
I think we plan to get a lot done this month. So, the big, you're not going to have to wait long. The big update for Eastern Europe is going to be
today.
I guess it will be today when this goes live.
When this goes live, it'll be today.
April 11th
it'll be out there
in the U.S. because I don't know where you are when you're listening. But yeah, so it's really exciting, and I hope you guys will all go and play and tell your friends, and help us, bring this whole new system to the live environment. And hopefully, pretty quickly after that, we can talk more about how to get it into the hands of a whole lot more players.
Awesome. Well, I think that just about wraps this up. Is this the point where the audio guys drop in Rain Day's outro?
I didn't even know what his outro is. It's something like go sign up on PaladinsStrike.com if you haven't done it. Also, read the description below because probably our social medias are there, and you would love to follow us because we take all kinds of fun pictures. And yeah, you're awesome. We're awesome. And thanks for listening.
All right.